Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Study Restfully. Today we are tackling a massive section of your AHSEC second year alternative English question paper Group A Prose Section, which is worth 40 marks. This question paper has been taken from the year 2026. So my dear students, let's get started with this paper so that we can make the most of it. First, let's look at question number 1. You need to answer any 5 of these in full sentences. This section is worth 5 marks. Each question carries 1 mark. A. What is the full name of the verger? Answer. The full name of the verger is Albert Edward Foreman, the dedicated verger of St. Peter's. B. At exactly what time did Rama used to arrive with his load of stuff? Answer. According to the story, Rama arrived at his corner at about 8:15 in the evening with all his cooking supplies to set up his shop. C. In which street was Rosemary shopping when she met Miss Smith? Answer. Rosemary was shopping in Curzon Street when she met Miss Smith. D. Where does the younger son go to pursue medical studies? Answer. The younger son goes to Dibrugarh to pursue his medical studies. E. How many chapatis could one get at Rama by paying an anna? Answer. According to Narayan's portal, Rama's food stall was defined by its affordability, famously offering 4 chapatis for the price of a single anna. F. At what age did the verger go into service? Answer. At the tender age of 12, Albert Edward Foreman took his first steps into the world of service, commencing his career as a humble page boy long before his tenure at St. Peter's. G. What is the name of the magazine mentioned by Philip? Answer. In Catherine Mansfield's short story A Cup of Tea, the magazine mentioned by Philip is the Milliner's Gadget. H. Who had inaugurated the Kahikuchi airport of Guwahati? Answer. Sir Akbar Haidari had inaugurated the Kahikuchi airport of Guwahati. I. Name 2 locations of Guwahati mentioned in the voyage. Answer. In Bhupen Hazarika's The Voyage, the 2 locations in Guwahati he recalls are Bharalumukh and Ujan Bazar. J. Which letter of the alphabet resemble the shape of Bina Kutir? Answer. The letter of the alphabet that resembled the shape of Bina Kutir was the letter L. Moving on to question number 2, there are 5 questions to attend to, worth 2 marks each, totaling 10 marks. A. Name at least 3 journals / newspapers offered by the air hostess. Answer. The air hostess offered a variety of reading materials to the passengers, including prominent publications such as Life, The Times, and the Illustrated London News. B. How did the verger keep his gowns? Answer. The verger took great pride in his appearance and the care of his vestments. He kept his gowns carefully pressed and folded, ensuring they remained in pristine condition for his duties at the church. C. What did the verger feel about the old vicar? Answer. The verger had a deep sense of respect and affection for the old vicar. He viewed him as a kind, easygoing man who understood the traditions of the church and valued the verger's long-standing service. D. Describe in brief the food items sold by Rama. Answer. Rama operated a small food stall where he sold simple, popular Indian snacks. His primary offerings included badas, pondas, and chapatis, often served with a side of chutney or a spicy gravy to cater to the local workers. E. How does Philip react towards Miss Smith? Answer. Philip initially reacts towards Miss Smith with a sense of pity mixed with a slight social awkwardness. He feels a moral obligation to help her because of her apparent poverty, yet he remains somewhat detached and superior in his manner. F. Briefly describe Bina Kutir as the narrator looked at it for the first time. Answer. When the narrator first saw Bina Kutir, it appeared as a modest, somewhat aged building. He noted its distinct shape, which reminded him of a specific English letter, and its surroundings, which gave off an air of quiet residential simplicity. G. Give a brief description of the young man at the counter. Answer. The young man at the counter presented a studious and focused image. Immersed in his books, he appeared more like a dedicated scholar than a typical shopkeeper maintaining a quiet but efficient presence at the desk. It's what did Rama feel about the young scraggy fellow, the one who did business before Rama arrived? Answer: Rama felt a sense of disdain and a professional superiority towards the young scraggy fellow. He viewed the predecessor's business as disorganized and poor in quality, believing that his own arrival brought a much needed standard of cleanliness and a taste to the spot. I write a short description of the little enamel box. Answer: the little enamel box is a small handcrafted metal container featuring a glossy fused glass finish and intricate hand-painted designs. Historically used for snuff or pills, these luxurious gold-embellished trinkets are now prized as elegant keepsakes for jewelry or artisanal collectibles. J. Give after Bhupen Hazarika a brief description of Djibouti. Answer: in the voyage, Bhupen Hazarika shows how Djibouti was badly divided because of French rule. He describes a sad place full of poverty and unfairness, showing how the local people were still suffering from the painful effects of foreign control. Moving on to question number 3, give answers to any two of the following questions. Each question carries 3 marks, a total of 6. A. How did the young man reply when the narrator asked him about a refrigerator? Answer: when the narrator asked about a refrigerator, the young man replied that getting one was not possible for the owner. He explained that he was only a salesman and the shop did not belong to him. Furthermore, the room was quite small. The rent was already 200 rupees and meeting daily running expenses was already a major problem for the owner, making a fridge financially unfeasible. B. Give a gist of the conversation between the verger and the vicar. Answer: in the vestry of St. Peter's Naval Square, the strict new vicar confronts Albert, the church's long-serving verger, with a harsh ultimatum after discovering his illiterate. The young vicar firmly demands that Albert learn to read and write within 3 months or face dismissal, arguing that an uneducated verger is unacceptable for the parish. Albert, however, remains deeply confident in his 16 years of dedicated and flawless service. Finding the sudden demand both unreasonable and unnecessary, he politely but firmly refuses to comply, choosing instead to resign from his beloved post. C. Describe Rosemary's encounter with Miss Smith. Answer: on a cold London street, wealthy Rosemary Field takes a poor shivering girl named Miss Smith home, treating her more like an exciting adventure than a real person. However, when Rosemary's husband calls the girl beautiful, Rosemary gets jealous, quickly gives her some money and sends her back out into the cold. This meeting clearly shows how the rich use the poor for their own entertainment and selfish ego, only to discard them the moment they feel insecure. It proves that Rosemary's kindness was never real but just a fake show of charity. In the end, poor Miss Smith is left completely helpless, used only to satisfy a rich woman's sudden mood. D. What happened when the wheels of the plane to Calcutta had started rolling? According to Bhupen Hazarika's travelogue essay, The Voyage, when the wheels of the plane heading from Kolkata started rolling and the aircraft began to gain speed, he suddenly realized he had made a major mistake. He panicked because he remembered that he had left his essential handbag behind with either his family members or friends who had come to see him off. The bag contained his passport, dollars, flight tickets, airpasses, documents, and other crucial papers. As a result, he started shouting at the top of his voice to stop the plane so he could retrieve his bag. The plane had to be stopped and his journey could only begin after everything was sorted out. E. Give a short description of Rama's customers. Answer: in R.K. Narayan's The Martyr's Corner, Rama's customers are working-class individuals, such as laborers, rickshaw pullers, and cinema-goers who cannot afford expensive restaurants. They are drawn to his street-side food stall by his friendly nature and highly affordable prices like 4 chapatis for an anna. Rama builds a customer base by treating them with respect and letting them choose their own food. Ultimately, the story illustrates how his business thrives on his affordable, fair service only to face a tragic downfall when a sudden riot forces him to move away from his regular local customers. My dear students, according to question number 4, we have to answer any 2 questions which carry 5 marks each, making a total of 10 marks. A. Give a brief account of Bhupen Hazarika's journey through Sri Lanka. Answer. Dr. Bhupen Hazarika's journey through Sri Lanka, as recounted in his travelogue The Voyage, highlights a beautiful blend of cultural observation and deep nostalgia. Upon arriving in Colombo, he noted that the city resembled an Anglo-Ceylonese maiden, due to its heavy westernization seen in everything from radio stations playing English music to stalls selling American goods. Despite this modern influence, Hazarika found profound connections to India. The scenic beauty and the warmth of a local household instantly reminded him of his time in Shillong. Furthermore, his visit to the city of Kandy, where he heard sacred Buddhist chants, reinforced the deep spiritual and historical ties that bind India and Sri Lanka together. Ultimately, his journey showcases how the subcontinental regions remain interconnected through shared heritage and spirituality, even while navigating the web of external trends. B. Do you agree that the Martyr's Corner represents many aspects of Indian life? Write a reasoned answer. Answer. R.K. Narayan's The Martyr's Corner serves as a vivid reflection of everyday Indian life, beautifully capturing the resilience, struggles, and vibrant culture of the common person. Through the character of Rama, the narrative highlights the essential role of street food culture and small-scale entrepreneurship in Indian urban society, where a vendor's livelihood depends entirely on consistency and local popularity. The story also paints a realistic picture of community dynamics, showcasing a diverse crowd of working-class individuals like laborers and rickshaw pullers and rely on such affordable services. However, it equally portrays the fragile nature of these small businesses, illustrating how swiftly socio-political disturbances and local riots can destroy an ordinary citizen's life. Ultimately, the title itself carries a deep irony. A spot dedicated to a political martyr becomes the very cause of ruin for a simple man, framing Rama as the true silent martyr to his circumstances. C. Write an extended note on the portrayal of Rosemary Fell's character. Answer. In Catherine Mansfield's short story A Cup of Tea, the protagonist Rosemary Fell is portrayed as a wealthy, privileged, and deeply superficial woman of 1920s England. Though young, brilliant, and exquisitely well-dressed, her life is entirely consumed by materialistic desires and luxury. When she encounters a poor, hungry girl named Miss Smith and takes her home, her actions are driven not by genuine compassion but by a narcissistic desire to play the role of a generous benefactor. This superficial charity quickly shatters when her husband Philip remarks on the beggar girl's beauty. Overcome by insecurity and jealousy, Rosemary instantly dismisses the girl with a small sum of money, proving that her kindness was merely a self-conscious performance. Through Rosemary, Mansfield brilliantly critiques the upper class, showing how their privilege and selfish need for admiration completely overshadow any capacity for true empathy or real kindness. D. Based on the multiple speculative scenes that the narrator sees inside Coca-Cola bottles, draw a pen picture of the family that supposedly lived in the Binakutir. Answer. Through the thick, curved, and uneven glass of the empty Coca-Cola bottles, the narrator sees a very strange and mysterious family living inside Binakutir. Because the glass distorts everything, the family members do not look like normal human beings at all. Instead, they appear as weird, shape-shifting figures that constantly change their forms. Sometimes they stretch out to become incredibly tall and thin like ghosts, and other times they suddenly shrink into short bending shapes. They move around the house completely soundlessly like silent shadows passing through a spooky, greenish-blue light. There is no sound or noise, making their daily life look like a silent movie where they talk and move but cannot be heard. They seem totally cut off from the real world, living quietly in their own private, dreamlike dimension where time has completely stopped. In short, the magic of the bottle glass transforms an ordinary house into a haunted, fairy tale-like home filled with spirits and mysteries. My dear students, in question number 5, we have been given 2 extracts. Based on the context, we have to answer any one which carries a total of 5 marks. A. Well, sir, that's just it. I can't. I know it sounds funny but there it is. I can't read or write, only my name, and I only learned to do that when I went into business. Answer. Context. This line is taken from the famous short story The Verger, written by W. Somerset Maugham. The story is about Albert Edward Foreman, who works happily as a verger at a church for 16 years. But when a new vicar finds out that Albert does not know how to read or write, he asks him to leave his job. Explanation. These words are spoken by the main character, Albert Edward Foreman, to the new vicar. The vicar tells Albert that he must learn to read and write in 3 months or he will have to resign from his post. In this passage, Albert honestly and politely says no to the vicar. He explains that it might sound strange, but he is completely illiterate. He can neither read books nor write anything. The only thing he knows is how to write his own name. He tells them that he learned to write his name only when he started working and earning money. He feels that he is too old to learn now. Since he has done his job perfectly for 16 years without any education, he does not see any need to learn it now. Significance. This paragraph shows that Albert is a very honest and simple man with a great self-respect. He is not ashamed of being illiterate. This is the most important part of the story because after this reply, Albert leaves his church job and later becomes a very rich businessman. B. One night when he went home with just 2 annas in his bag, he sat up on the pew and announced to his wife, "I believe our business is finished. Let us not think of it anymore." Answer. Context. This line is taken from the short story Martyr's Corner, written by R.K. Narayan. The story is about Rama, a very successful street food vendor. He used to sell delicious and affordable food at a specific corner. However, a violent political riot takes place at his spot. Someone dies there and that place is declared a Martyr's Corner. Rama is forced to move away, loses his regular customers, and his business is completely ruined. Explanation. These lines show the saddest moment in Rama's life. After losing his regular spot, Rama tried to sell his food at a different place, but nobody came to buy from him. Day by day, his earnings dropped terribly. One night, he walks back home totally defeated with only 2 annas left in his bag. He sits down on the veranda of his house and announces the bad news to his wife. He accepts his failure with a heavy heart. He tells her honestly that their good days are over and their food business is completely finished. He asks her to accept this harsh reality and says, "Let us not think of it anymore," meaning they should stop worrying about the business they can no longer save. Significance. This passage shows the tragic downfall of a hard-working common man due to political situations beyond his control. It highlights Rama's dignity and maturity in accepting his defeat when he realizes that fighting against his bad luck is useless. Question number 6. Give answers to the following as directed. A. Write the meaning of the words given below. Total marks 2. 1. Dilapidated. 2. Mesmerizing. 3. Fascinating. 4. Assortment. Respective answers are ruined, captivating, attractive, variety. B. Give antonyms of the following words. Total mark 1. 1. Colossal. 2. Loud. Answer small and quiet respectively. C. Give synonyms of the following words. Total mark 1. Number 1. Titanic. 2. Recess. Answer huge and break respectively. So the video ends here. Thank you so much for watching. Keep learning and I will see you in the next video.